Welcome in guys to my NFL Week 6 recap. Just got done watching the Monday night game. Why do we have the Chargers and the damn Broncos on primetime with Russell Wilson? He's finished. He's finished as a... Oh, I'm tired of it. Oh, I'm just angry. Anyway, let's talk about the Week 6 NFL. So we started off with the Thursday night game. We had the Commanders versus the Bears. It was on Bears on primetime. I didn't watch it on primetime. I watched the highlights the day after. But again, and good job I did not watch it because it was just two teams that are just a dumpster fire, not just as a team, but as an organization, front office. Typical, again, Justin Fields was bad in this game. There's one point in the game when Justin Fields he's trying to find somebody. Cole Kmet is wide open at this point. He has no defenders on him, but again, he decides to throw it to somebody else. Again, it's just stupid. A lot of running the ball. Again, let's just run the ball because this is the offense of the Bears. Run the ball. Let's not pass the ball. We run the ball because again, this is Getsy. He starts with 3-0 to the Commanders. Then Pat says a 3-7, 6-7 in the fourth. Robinson to make it 12-7. And that gets the Commanders a win. The only good thing about this game on primetime was Ron Rivera's rant about how he doesn't like the GM in the Commanders, how he didn't want Carson Wentz, and how it wasn't his decision. So that was the best part about it. Like, the whole thing about that on Thursday was Ron Rivera. But again, that has the Commanders are now 2-4. The Bears are now 3-3. Well, are now 2-4. And Justin Fields still looks bad as that quarterback, and we still don't know what you have with Justin Fields yet. Because again, you've got people like David Montgomery. David Montgomery is part of this team. You could have traded him in the offseason and stayed with Cole Kmet, but you want to keep these guys. Cole Kmet doesn't want to be in Chicago, but you still want to keep him. Then you had the 49ers versus the Falcons on 14-28. Second and goal to make it 0-7 to the Falcons. Then it was 0-14, 7-14 the second, 14-14, and then 14-21 the second, and then 14-28, and the Falcons get the win. Mariota gets himself a touchdown in the game. Then we go for the Ravens versus the Giants. 20-24, another great win for Brian Daboll. We're going to talk about him later on. But we had a touchdown from Drake in the second, make it 7-0 to the Ravens. And then Robinson got the Giants back in the game with a 7-7. Tucker made it 10-7 in the second, 13-7, 13-7 in the third, 17-10 in the third. Then a second and fourth in the fourth to make it 20-10. Bellinger touchdown to make it 20-17, and then a first and goal by Barkley to make it 20-24. And the Giants are now 5-1 in the regular season. Then we have the Jags versus the Colts. Again, I'm liking what Doug Preston is doing in Jacksonville, but again, it wasn't enough to keep the Colts out. The Colts win 34-27. And Matt Ryan beats Trevor Lawrence, who again, I look in the last couple of games, he hasn't been the best, but again, this Jags team there's still a lot of work with this Jags team. Then we have the Vikings versus the Dolphins, 24-16. It starts off with a Sanders field goal to make it 0-3 to the Dolphins. Teddy Bridgewater was back in this game. You had Joseph with a field goal to make it 10-3 in the second. 16-3 in the fourth. Then it was 16-16. Then Cook had 2 touchdowns in the game to make it 20. Cook had a touchdown to make it 22-10, then 24-10, and then 24-16, and the Vikings get the win. Then we have the Bengals versus the Saints, 30-26. Andy Dalton gets his old former team in the Bengals, but again, even though Andy Dalton was trying to make some shit happen, you had one thing I want to talk about is the offense of the Bengals, and they had 8 poor passes on their offensive side of the ball in the third quarter. Again, this offensive line, you spent heavily on it, and I could see in that Dolphins game 2 weeks ago you was getting your shit together, and then in this game you was looking kind of mid. But you still got the job done, 30-26, and now the Bengals are now 3-3 in the regular season. But again, the offensive line still needs work, and it can improve. Then we had the Packers versus the Jets. The Packers were in Lambeau Field, and the Jets defeated the Packers 10-27. I didn't even see this happening. That the Packers were that the Jets, again, I didn't see that this was gonna happen with a shock as it was gonna be 10-27. I mean, again, the Jets did beat a Trubisky Steelers team a couple weeks ago, but again, you look at this Packers team, and there's something off about this Packers team this year. Again, you can say, oh, Davante Adams, well, yeah, that's a big reason, but again, the secondary is gettable as well. But a good win for the Jets. They're now 4-2. The Packers are now 3-3. Then we have the Bucks versus the Steelers. Kenny Pickett started the game, 18-20, and the Steelers get the win. Again, this is what I like. Start Kenny Pickett. Not every game is going to be, again, see what you have with Kenny Pickett. You may win 6 or 7 games, but it's what the season's about. Well, with the Steelers is a rebuilding job. You've had 20 years of Big Ben. Now you're going to have to find that answer at the quarterback position. Kenny Pickett, is he that guy? I mean, you've drafted him in the first round. You shouldn't have him being a third-rate quarterback behind a Mason Rudolph and a Trubisky who is mid. You need to find out what you have with Kenny Pickett right here and now, and then you can build next year on the offensive line or the wide receiver kind of thing. You have Harris as well, who's a good, he's a good acquisition on that offensive line on the ball. So you've got some good things there. For the Bucks, again, they're in transition as well. They've got Todd Bowles as their head coach from Bruce Arians and stuff like that. Then we had the Patriots versus the Browns. Patriots win 38-15. Just a complete shutout for the Patriots, and the Patriots are now 3-3. That has the Browns is now 4-2. Then we had the late Sunday games. Panthers versus the Rams. Steve Wilkes' first game as the interim coach after Matt Rose was fired. You got your ass fired. Steve Wilkes is the new head coach, interim head coach of the Panthers. Again, there's a lot of talk I heard last week of maybe Sean Payton's going to come back out of his mini retirement that he's in right now and come to Carolina. It wouldn't be a bad option that you had Sean Payton back in there again. He has won a Super Bowl. I know that the last couple of years with the Saints, he was dealing with a declining Drew Brees and other things what happened. But again, I think it'd be good if they can get Sean Payton in Carolina, and then you can see what you have next year. But the Rams win 10-24. Again, this is a Rams team that is gettable and are not the same Rams team as last year. But again, they got the job done, 10-24. And now the Rams are 3-3, and then the Panthers are 1-5. Then we have the Cardinals versus the Seahawks. It was 9-19. Geno Smith is still doing a good job as a secondary quarterback. And again, if anybody needs a quarterback next year, maybe the Bears or whoever, get this guy in as a secondary quarterback. Because again, Geno Smith, he's done pretty good so far. And the Seahawks are now 3-3. Cardinals are now 4-2. Then we had the Bills versus Chiefs, the big game. This was the big primetime game on Sunday night. The big game on Sunday. It was the Bills versus the Chiefs. It was a rematch from last year's divisional game when it went into overtime when Josh Allen lost to Mahomes. But from the Chiefs' point of view, it was a very defensive game from them. But the Bills won 24-20, and that makes them 5-1. Again, the Bills. I love that comeback that they had, that mentality that they had of coming back from. They were 17-10 in the third to 17-20, then 23-20. Again, just shows how much character that they have this year, and Von Miller coming in. I think that has been a good thing as well, having a Von Miller. The character that he has, he's done it, he's been there, he's been to a Super Bowl twice, he's won it, he knows what it's like to have these big moments in games. And yeah, I just think that is a great thing. You've got Von Miller, he's got that mindset. Then we have the Cowboys versus the only undefeated team in the NFL, the Eagles. Now the Eagles win 17-26. They're now 6-0. They're now 6-0, and they're looking really good. Again, Cowboys have looked good before this game as well. Cooper Rush was the secondary quarterback, and they still look good. But the Eagles, again, I'm just liking what they're doing this year. They've fixed what they built around the young quarterback, which is, God forbid, what everybody in the NFL should be is build around your young quarterback. You've got your A.J. Brown, you've got your offensive line, and again, it's now up to Jalen Hurts if he's the dude or not. So far, he's looking like he's the dude, and the Eagles potentially, I said this in my predictions, could be going to the Super Bowl. But then we have the Monday night game, tonight's game, Broncos versus Chargers. Why do the network want to keep putting Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett on primetime TV? Stop it! It was just an absolute. It was an absolute dumpster fire of a watch. I don't know what was worse. Was the Bronco? Was it worse than the Bears and the Commanders game? Maybe not, but again, it was bad. It was 16-19. The Chargers got the job done in overtime with a Hopkins field goal, and that, guys, is your NFL Week 6 recap. I'll leave you guys thoughts in. Well, before I end the video, I want to talk about Brian Daboll. Now, in my opinion, early on, he's the MVP of the year for the NFL. In my opinion, so far, I know you can say maybe Nick Sirianni, or you could say whoever right now, because he's doing great for the Eagles. But right now, the MVP, my early MVP for this season, has got to be Brian Daboll. He hasn't got the roster that he needs to create a big team, but he's keeping up there. He's in the same division as the Cowboys and the Eagles, and he's still got a fighting chance of getting a playoff place. And they're 5-1. They don't have a good quarterback. They have a secondary quarterback. They have a lot of holes in that roster that needs a lot of work. But I'm excited to see what he can do in year 2 in New York, and see what he can do in next year and the year after. Because again, he's got a bright future as an NFL head coach. He just needs the front office to back him and have the right investment behind him with the offensive line and the quarterback position. And I think the division with the Giants and the Cowboys is going to be an interesting thing, especially with the Commanders. They're in a rebuild position. But yeah.